She asked him what was wrong. He said nothing was wrong. He knew exactly what was wrong. He had known for 3 months. He could describe it in careful detail if pressed. The slow withdrawal, the conversation where something shifted, the thing she has needed from him that he has not given. He has filed it under. Not yet. There is another man. When his partner is upset, he sees what produced it before she says a word. He has never once told her he can see it. He understands everything. He gives nothing from what he understands. He goes to bed with it still inside him. Robert Moore named both of these men in king, warrior, magician, lover. The detached manipulator and the denying innocent. The two shadow poles of the magician archetype. This is not a tour of the magician archetype from behind a desk. There will be no diagram, no taxonomy. This is a mirror. By the end of this video, you will know which shadow you have been running. You will know the moment. You will know the question you have been carrying without asking. You have been carrying it for longer than you will admit. The lie is that neither description applies to you. The detached manipulator does not require cruelty. He requires only that a man stay above the action, above the vulnerability, above the cost of stepping in. Always right, because he never steps in. The denying innocent does not require stupidity. He requires only that a man retreat into not knowing when the weight of knowing becomes a demand to act. He returns the weight to her. You have done both of these things this week. Not as a predator. As a man who carries a gift, he does not yet know how to give away. Here is the truth. Robert Moore defines the magician archetype as the capacity for awareness, perception, and initiation. The one who sees, who names, who initiates himself and others into what is actually happening. The detached manipulator is the magician's sight turned against risk. He sees everything and commits to nothing, because committing means entering the outcome. The denying innocent is the magician's sight turned against itself. He uses not knowing as a fortress. The man who says, "I don't understand what you want" in an intimate conversation does not always mean it. Sometimes he has understood for months. The shadow of the magician is not the absence of intelligence. It is intelligence in flight from itself. Carl Jung named this inflation the mana personality in the archetypes and the collective unconscious. The man so identified with the power of knowing that knowledge becomes the throne he sits on. Not a gift, a position. One shadow inflates into it. The other retreats beneath it. Wolfram von Eschenbach's Parzival has the oldest version of this in all of literature. Percival arrives at the Grail Castle. The Fisher King lies wounded, unable to heal himself, unable to rule his land. The healing requires one thing, that Percival ask a single question. "What ails thee?" Percival sees the wound clearly. He has been raised as a knight and taught never to ask impertinent questions of those above him. The instruction meant to produce courtesy produces paralysis instead. He leaves without asking. The king remains wounded. The land remains waste. When he finally returns and asks the question, the king is healed. The land recovers. There are men who return to a version of this castle every night. They sit across from the woman they love. They see the wound. They walk out holding what was needed inside them. The question was ready before they sat down. There are 3 recognitions, not 3 exercises. 3 acts of honesty that allow the magician to become whole. Sit with this before you answer. In the last week, was there a moment in your relationship when you understood exactly what was happening and you said nothing? Or when she asked what you thought about something that mattered and you gave her a question instead of an answer? You already knew. You returned the weight. One of those landed harder. That is the shadow you currently run. Most men in this room run the denying innocent in their closest relationships because it hides inside the appearance of sensitivity. The man who says, "I don't know what you need from me," sounds like he is trying. He is not trying to understand. He is protecting himself from the cost of what he already understands. The pattern is not the work. The moment is the work. James Hollis names this in Under Saturn's Shadow, the man who understands his wound and never acts on it. You cannot integrate a pattern. You can only act in a moment. Find the exact sentence you did not say. A room, a face, a sentence. There is a question you already know to ask in your relationship, in the conversation you have been postponing. You have been waiting until you understand it better, until the moment is more appropriate. The conditions are not going to improve. The question has been ready longer than you have. Ask it this week, in a conversation you will have before Friday. Stop filing it under "not yet." The man who has claimed the magician's energy does not hold his knowledge above the relationship like a crown. He speaks at the moment when speaking costs him something. He is not the man on the balcony. He is in the room with her. The question is in your chest. You have carried it longer than you will admit. Ask it. If you have not yet met the warrior's two shadows, the two ways men fail at force, that descent is waiting for you here. Subscribe if you're ready to do the real work. See you in the next one.